Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. Today, I had to go pick up a package from GemFan at my old address in Alpharetta, which takes like an hour to get there with traffic. And there was this place called Curry Up Now in Alpharetta that I used to love when I lived over there. So I went and picked up the package, and then Maggie and I went together. And so we went for a little lunch date to Curry Up Now. And I don't know why I think I can eat Indian food or curry or anything interesting for that matter. So yeah, this live stream might be a short one. It almost didn't. I almost had to cancel it all together, but here we are. Let's see how much we can get through. I'm gonna talk about the Meteor65 Pro being paired up with Walksnail as early as I can. And we're going to do mailbag, and I'm going to get caught up on chat as quickly as possible, so that if I have to go, that, you know, the title of this live stream and everything are at least somewhat accurate. If my stomach settles down, then we'll dive into tearing apart this carbon-framed Walksnail build and putting it into a Meteor65 Pro frame to see what's what. To see if maybe this will be a better freestyle setup than this guy. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. I really wish that there were bi-blades available for this frame. But I think an 802 will boss these tri-blades around enough that we get a good enough response time and we can get some good flight characteristics. I don't know, though. We're going to put it on the lightweight 802s. I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. One of the issues with this freestyle build here, this is the Walksnail freestyle build, is power to weight ratio. So in theory, the bigger frame with the bigger propellers could help out with that. But the problem is going to be, the other problem with this is that it's too heavy. This is going to make that worse. This frame is heavier. These props are heavier. They're going to require a heavier motor to turn them. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. How about this? Who has experience with the Meteor65 Pro frame? Is it durable? That's one of my main concerns with it. Is it going to just explode? The other option, and I mean, I've had this in the works for a while, is a 75. Man, my stomach is just burning like absolute hell. I drank a bunch of a whole bottle of KO Pectate. That's it. No. Pepto. I drank a whole bunch of Pepto. But it has met its match. Yeah. We've had a 75mm freestyle Walksnail rig in the works for a while. I had it all the way built, and then the Neutron RC flight controller that I used to build it let go the first time I plugged power in. So yeah, it's what I like about the 75mm build is I can run bi-blades. The 75mm bi-blades are awesome. I mean, like, if I move this over into a 75mm build, I won't really have to change anything. I kind of will, because I'll need to put this camera into a canopy, but yeah, that's not a big deal. So yeah, I don't know. But what I can say is that this one of the main worries is that this doesn't fly very good. Tim Robbins says, CiottiFPV, you're always sick. I'm actually not. I'm rarely sick, but I got sick around Christmas time, and it lingered for a while. I do certainly have stomach issues. I've had stomach issues for a long time. They are unfortunately related to my anxiety as well. So when the generalized anxiety disorder starts kicking my ass, my stomach goes bananas. This is not that. This is just my stomach. Yeah, I think I have IBS, but yeah, I digress. So yeah, that's kind of what we're up to tonight. Let's dive on in. In the chat, Hockey Rounds was first. Chuck P was next. FPV Graybush, Frank Nicholas, Bob Bruce, Freelojo, Hockey Rounds, Lucky, Zach McMucus, Northern Tier, Feigning Goat, Adam Weston, Mac FPV, John Godlin, Tim Robbins, McMucus, Brandon Woodford, UBG, Feigning Goat, CQB FPV, Tim Robbins. Oh my god, my stomach just made a sound. Scott FPV, Pedro Tomei. Pedro, I haven't seen you in a while, man. How you been? Lucky, Traffics AU, Prop Junkie, Tim Robbins, FP Avery, Lucky again, Prop Junkie again, Kevin Sumner, Mr. Dud, Goberg, Feigning Goat again, Squitchy FPV. I haven't seen you for a while either. Welcome back, dude. Safe Zone FPV, Kevin Sumner, Tim Robbins, John Goblin, Matt Norton, Zach, Goberg, Walter. Zach says, "Don't shit yourself on stream, please." Deal. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. If you want to talk directly to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up in orange. You can put an @ in front of it, but you don't have to. If you don't type CiottiFPV in your chat comment, I won't read it. OG folks, if somebody's asking a great question, but they forgot to tag me, copy and paste their comment. Do me a favor and give them credit for asking an awesome question. Shirt of the day is from CMYKFPV. I have no idea how long this shirt has been sitting at my old address. But yeah, CMYK might have ordered this shirt many months ago, and it's just been sitting at my old address waiting for me. All right, what's happening in Chad? SafeZone FPV says, what's good? My FPV Gangle, evening CiottiFPV. Matt Norton says, my Whoop has turtle mode, and it's working in the receiver tab. Is something wrong, or is there a trick I didn't do? I feel like I'm missing a part of this that says that. So I'm assuming that it's triggering in the receiver tab, but then I'm assuming that it's not working in real life. I need to know like what it's doing in real life. Like so you assign turtle mode to a switch. In real life, not in real life. When your quad is not plugged into Betaflight, there we go. You put the switch in that switch position, you arm it, and then you move. You move the right thumbstick, for you guys that would be here. You move the right thumbstick diagonally to trigger each motor. What's happening? Are the motors spinning up? Is nothing happening? Are the motors spinning up, but they're not spinning up in the reverse direction? I need to know. Tag me again, Matt, and we'll work our way through it. John Goblin says, I fly the 65 Pro all the time and never broke one on HDZero. Awesome. Love to hear that. Feigning Goat says, I'm a ship pilot and I have one. Yes, it's the Meteor65 Pro, and it's durable. Awesome. Thank you, dude. Zach says, new pilot wanting a Mobula 6. Should I get the 19,000 kV or 25,000 kV motors? I only have about 30 hours of sim time. Zach, there is an amazing feature in Betaflight in the PID tab called motor limiting. Motor limiting will allow you to buy that 25,000 kV version of it and digitally turn it down to 19,000 kV. What you'll never be able to do is buy a lower kV version and turn it up. So always buy the higher kV version. Not always, but like 99% of the time, buy the higher kV version of something, and then if you want less power, you can motor limit it down. If the options were like 19,000 kV and 40,000 kV, and you're new, I would you don't want to motor limit all the way down to like 50%. Like that's too much. You only really want to motor limit down to about 70%. There are some negatives that can happen pushing down below 70%. You probably won't notice them. I have not noticed the negatives, and I've motor limited all the way down to 65%. But technically they're there. So try not to buy something that's so overly KV'd that you have to like cut it in half. But yeah, the answer to your question is absolutely buy the 25,000 kV version. Although, hold on. Mobula 6, ELRS. If both of those are the same sized motor, my answer stands. If the 25,000 kV is like an 802 motor, and then the 19,000 kV is a 702 motor, you should actually buy the 702 motor, because you can take those bells off of those and use them on the 702 is the magical motor for the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. So I'm just taking a quick look at which Mobula 6s are currently in stock. Happy Model changes the motors that they put on these things all the time. It's pretty frustrating. But yeah. Oh, look at this. So they're selling one here with 702 26,000 kV motors. That's awesome. And this is on Amazon. It's $160, so that's kind of expensive. But I mean, at $160, like, these motors are actually usable. 702 26,000 kV is actually like a somewhat usable motor. Interesting. Let me just really quickly hit the specs here. Yeah, 702 motors. Very cool. Well, so that's what I'll say. If you can find a Mobula 6 with 702 motors, buy that one. They're probably going to be too low of a KV for your forever motors, but that's okay. You're going to beat the crap out of the motor. So here it is with 802 19,000s. I'm pretty sure that if your options are 19,000 kV and 25,000 kV, it's going to be an 802. I don't know. I don't know of any 702 motors that Happy Model has made that are either one of those KVs, and I know that they've made 802s in both of those KVs. So I'm pretty confident with the initial answer I gave you, but I just want to make absolutely sure that they haven't come out with a 702 in either 19 or 25,000 kV, because, like I said, if you can get a Mobula 6 with 702s, do it. Eventually, you're going to upgrade to bigger motors. So here it is again. So this was the most amazing Mobula 6. For a very short amount of time, it came with 702 26,000s, and it was amazing. You get these garbage HQ biblades off here and put GemFan biblades on there, and it's just amazing. But then they stopped putting it on 702s, and they started putting it on 802s in 19,000 and 25,000 kV, which was sad, because the camera, canopy, and flight controller are the absolute best that exists. And then if you can buy it with 702s, especially in 26,000 kV, it's a really, really, really good starting and intermediate setup. Down the road, as you get really good, you're going to want to go to 30,000, 32,000, maybe even 36,000 kV. But yeah, to get you going, 702 26,000 kV is amazing. Nowadays that it's coming with 802s, the best possible thing you can do with the 802s is take them off and put them onto a 75mm rig. The problem is the 802s that it comes with only have 1mm motor shaft, so they're not going to be all that durable on a 75mm rig. So yeah, and the other thing is, when it came with the 702s, even if you were super experienced and you were planning on changing the motors right away, it's the same motor. So you can swap out the 702 26,000s for 702 32,000s, for example. Keep those old motors, pull the C-clip on the bottom of the motor, pull the bell off, and now you've got 4 perfectly good extra bells for your 702 32,000 kV or now 36,000 kV or 30,000 kV motors. So it was really, really, really cool. You were getting, again, 702 26,000 is awesome. So they were useful motors out of the box. But if you wanted something more, you could not just take the motors off and put them in a box to collect dust forever. So yeah, that was pretty cool. But unfortunately, they are no longer making it with... I haven't seen it for sale with 702s in quite some time, which is sad. Okay, cool. So yeah, really good question. Tim Robbins, no, we got that. John Goblin says, the HD board will stick over the props in the 65 Pro just a tiny bit. It's built for small boards. Yeah, I had a feeling it would do that. But that should be totally fine. The 65 is it doesn't quite stick over. But there's a bunch of clearance between that board and the top of the propeller, so I mean it should be totally fine. Thank you for confirming that, though. Tyler Walker with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, homie. He says, just finished an HDZero build. Weebleed Screamers, Biblades, GNB27, and Nitro Nectar 3000. Has way more power. Is sub 2-minute flight normal. Yeah, unfortunately. The HDZero VTX, same thing with the Walksnail VTX, is basically going from an analog tiny whoop to a digital tiny whoop. You're going to gain 5 to 7 grams, depending on HDZero, Walksnail, which camera you run, how you mount it, stuff like that. And that's a lot. That's a humongous amount of weight, right? Like, without those, you can build an Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop that's like 18.5 grams, right? So you take 18.5 grams, which is basically what you've done there, right? The Screamers, the Biblades, Nitro Nectar 3, but yeah, you've more than I don't know your whole build, but it's probably a 19-gram build on analog. You then add 6 grams, 5 or 6 grams. You're adding a tremendous amount of weight. What's that work out to? So like, call it 19 grams divided by an extra 6 grams. That's not how you do the math. 6, 12, 18. So you're adding like 30% more weight, basically. And you get about 30% less runtime. That setup on analog at 19 grams, you get about 3 minutes of runtime. Now all of a sudden, yeah, you're going to lose. You actually lose closer to... No, that's about right. Yeah, you lose about 30-something% runtime, and it's 30-something% heavier. So yeah, it just kind of is what it is. Just buy more batteries, right? The batteries don't get like overly hot on the Walksnail setups. All of my Walksnail builds are exactly that. If I'm very gentle, I get right at 2 minutes. Like chasing the RC drift cars, I get like exactly 2 minutes of runtime. If you're going to throw freestyle in there and start going full throttle, you're going to get minute and 55, minute and 50, minute and 45. It's just, we're asking a lot. It would be better to run like a 400 milliamp or a 450 milliamp battery, but the problem there would be that it would get even heavier. And those batteries don't really exist. They exist in this wider format, but this doesn't really fit in any of the 65 millimeter frames. So, yeah, the 65 millimeter Walksnail builds are very challenging. It's that VTX is just an awful lot of weight to be adding to such a lightweight build with such a small battery with such small motors. The benefit is that you're maximizing your weight savings, right? Like by building it as a 65, you're saving like between 3 and 6 grams over building it up as a 75. On today's stream, we're going to talk about potentially going in between there with one of these Meteor65 Pro frames. The Meteor65 Pro frame has significantly bigger propellers. The regular 65... So 65 refers to the distance between the motors, the motor-to-motor distance. It does not refer to the propellers. A 65 millimeter Tiny Whoop runs 1.2 inch or 30 millimeter propellers. This Meteor 65 Pro frame, they have managed to keep the motor to motor distance at 65, which you can see if I do that, right? The motors are like, look here and then look here. The motor mount bases are in the exact same position, but look at the difference in size of the ducts, right? These ducts are significantly bigger. This spins a 35 millimeter prop versus 30 or 31 millimeter on the regular 65. So you're getting an extra 4 to 5 millimeters on the propeller, which is going to be more efficient and make more thrust if you have the right motor to back it up. The way that they've managed to do that is they've pulled the ducts in. Like normally you wouldn't be able to just run a bigger propeller without pushing the motors outwards. But what they did is they made the frame so that you have to run one of the AIOs that is a cross style. So the AIO that we love, the Mobula 6 ELRS, which is not a cross style AIO, it's a square style AIO, won't fit in here. You cannot run that in here, which is one of the reasons that I've had this frame just sitting in a box for, like over a year, I think. The cross style AIOs I don't really like for analog because you have to run an external VTX. And then that adds extra weight, extra complexity, and it's just not worth it. So, yeah. It just struck me that the new Hummingbird V3 AIO has the VTX built in and would absolutely fit in here. Interesting. That would be a very lightweight, big propellered setup. I really want to do that now. I want to do that. I actually would rather do that than the Walksnail build. I know the Walksnail build is going to be more of what you guys want to see, but I'll be damned. Okay, I might be buying another one of these. Well, what I'll probably do is do the Walksnail build with this, and then I have a feeling I'll tear it down and put it into a 75 millimeter frame, and then I'll use this with the extra Hummingbird V3 AO that Newbie Drone sent me. Or I'll pull apart my existing Hummingbird V3 and drop it into this frame. Because that's very unique. The Hummingbird V3, which is a cross-style AIO, has the VTX built in, which is super unique. None of the other cross-style AIOs have the VTX built in. And so, yeah. I'm going to do that eventually. That will be a build at some point. My God, it is freezing in here. What the hell is going on with this little heater? Not running? It's not running. Why are you not running, little heater? Because the thermostat was turned down too much. That'll do it every time. Oh boy, I have a stomach full of absolute lava. Just liquid hot magma. Ooh. Ooh. Tyler, thank you for the super chat. Very generous, my man. Yeah, so that's totally normal. In my opinion, buy a bunch of extra batteries. They're not all that expensive. It's really nice to have a whole bunch of these batteries. Yeah, that is going to be the best that is going to be the best performing and safest HD indoor tiny whoop. When you start going bigger, the weight is going to go up. The power to weight ratio could potentially go up, but it's going to be a lot harder to fly. As the weight goes up, these things become a lot harder to fly, especially when you're flying in very tight enclosed spaces, which your house most definitely is. So what you've got there is the most nimble, the lightest weight, the easiest to fly inside the house. Going bigger is going to make it more difficult to fly, and it's going to slam your personal belongings harder and potentially break them easier. So, yeah. Steve E says, happy 2024. Did you build a Walksnail 65mm already? Is a 26-gram 65 too heavy for your preference? We just finished it up, Steve. And the cross AIO is acting really weird. I haven't had a chance to troubleshoot it yet, but yeah, there's something going on. I got to figure out what gyro is on this happy. So this is the first time that I've used the Happy Model Cross AIO. and it's not, there's something funky going on. It could be a motor problem. I put these 603 prototype 30,000 kV motors on that I have pounded the snot out of during the prototype testing on analog rigs. So these motors could just be, yeah, a part of the problem. I can just... Oh. Okay. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. I'm not going to pull this thing apart and put it into this, because it'll be very easy for me to pull this apart and put it into a 65mm frame, which has been the plan. I'm actually going to pull this apart, because I need to pull these motors off anyway, and all I need to do is pull these 4 screws, unplug the motors, pull these 4 screws, drop it into this frame, bolt a new set of motors to this frame. For me to test if the motors are the problem on this, I have to unscrew all the motors. I would rather, it would be the exact same amount of time, almost, other than these 4 screws, to bolt a set of motors that I know are clean to this, drop this stack into it, and see if it's still acting up. So that's what I'm going to do. That's awesome. That reduces the amount of work by an awful lot. Cool. So we should be able to do that before my stomach goes Mount Vesuvius. I'm going to start unscrewing screws and unplugging motors right now. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing here down below the camera on my desk. What else is happening in chat? So Stevie, yeah, I've had this built. If you go back farther and use a little search function on my channel, I have had this build put together before. I actually flew... Here, let me give you some flight footage of this. Some really, really cool flight footage of this. I flew this in Tennessee when I was drone tech for Rich Howarth from Hyperlow Quads and Erod at Monster Jam. I flew this at our hotel in... Well, I'll just let it kind of speak for itself, because I won't be able to properly put into words how fucking cool this was. So this is this setup. At the time, it was on 702 30,000 kV motors. This is not full throttle or anything like that. But yeah, this is what you can expect. What a ridiculously cool spot to fly. I still need to do an edit with this. But yeah, this is the flight performance you can get. That very controlled descent there, it does not have the power to weight ratio to do a descent like that without me like kind of babying it on the sticks. It really wants to prop wash and yaw wash out. 702 30,000s are just not quite enough power for the extra 6 grams. And thus, that's why I want to see what's up with putting it into a slightly bigger frame with slightly bigger propellers to see if we can get the power to weight ratio under control. The current one here on the 603s, 603s make significantly more power than 702s. This is a lot better. I haven't done like a massive dive like this with it to really know if it'll wash out at the bottom, but this definitely feels better on these 603 30,000s. Unfortunately, it's kind of, yeah, there's something weird going on with it. I think there's some vibrations getting in. Here you go, big washout. There it is. Bang, 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 bang. That was an ugly, like, just kind of bailout. The problem that I was having here is that on the way down, it was winding up. Ready? So look, I'm zero throttle. See it charging forward there. So I'm trying to manage that. It's doing that. It's doing that thing that prop guarded rigs sometimes will do when they're props out. I really wish that I had been props in here, because it might have been a little bit better with that. Maybe we'll go to the same hotel this year if I get invited back to do Monster Jam again. And you better goddamn believe it'll be props in if I go back here. Although it'll also be on a different set of motors that make more power, and that might be the thing that fixes it. But yeah, it's very flyable. It's nothing like an analog Freestyle Tiny Whoop. There is the extra weight of Walksnail and HDZero cripples these things, but it's still totally flyable. It's just a little more of a cinematic slash old school Tiny Whoop flying experience, where it's not just this like unbelievable rocket ship like what we've got on these Ultimate Freestyle builds nowadays. But it's really fun. It's really, there you go. There's a big yaw washout from not even that big of a dive, right? That thing only dropped like 20 feet. It just doesn't have enough power, right? Like, this is what every single Tiny Whoop was like a year ago. They would all act like this. We are incredibly spoiled today to have some analog Tiny Whoop setups that just absolutely rail. It's super, super, super impressive. But there's a limit. There are limitations to them, and this is a perfect example of that. So I'm pulling this canopy up and off here, and I'm going to remove the remaining screw in the front. What's really cool about the 65mm digital setups is that they're completely silent. Like, I didn't get permission to do this. I was in the middle of everyone. Like, there's people walking around below me. Nobody said a goddamn word. Nobody even knew I was doing this. Like, it's so quiet. It's so, like, friendly. Like, even if you do get caught doing this, the conversation is going to be like, oh, what's that? Well, that's really cool. As opposed to, get the fuck out of here. You're endangering everyone's lives. Like, the 65mm thing is just so cool and so, like, unobtrusive. And yeah, like, these people down in the lobby had no clue, and I didn't care either. Like, I'm not the most careful, but I'm pretty careful. I don't want to be the guy that ruins it for everybody. I felt totally comfortable doing this. I had absolutely no problem. I felt no amount of weirdness. It was like all good. And so yeah, that's one of the real magical things. A 75mm HDZero or Walksnail rig would be almost as quiet. It would be almost as unobtrusive, but it's just a little bit in the wrong direction. It is going to be a little bit louder. There's going to be a little bit more of a chance of you getting thrown out or yelled at, and it's going to be a little bit heavier. Are you going to go to jail? Absolutely not. But you know, yeah. I will say that. So here's a similar setup, but on analog. Here's what an analog setup does in that same scenario. Hold on, let me go a couple videos forward. This was like, just testing the spot. So I was doing a whole bunch of practice dives and whatnot. Here's me like actually warmed up a little bit on the analog rigs. So this is pretty much the exact same build, 702 30,000s, but without the extra weight of Walksnail. This is literally 6 grams lighter, and quite the difference. I was also trying to get like a really cool one-take kind of thing, so it's a little bit weird in the beginning here, but I wanted to have like a really cool one-take climb and dive that I could put up into a Instagram story. And then instead, I just let the footage sit here on my heart. I've played the footage on the live streams. Like, most of the flying I do is for you beautiful people to enjoy on the beginning and end of live streams, and in the middle when I'm kind of talking over it. But yeah, I really do need to. This is really cool. I need to get this up onto a Instagram story. It's really silly that I haven't done it yet. So here's what, yeah, very, very, very similar setup, but without the weight of the, I mean, this is right here. You're just watching an Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop, but olden days before 36,000 kV Chaos motors. This might actually be on the 32,000 kV motors, come to think of it. I think the Moon Travelers were available back when I was doing this. So still doing the thing where at 0 throttle it's winding up, and you can see there was a little bobble there. There was a little bit of yaw washout going on. Big ass dives on a ducted rig are going to be tough no matter what. It's just not a good aerodynamic situation. It does not cut through the air. It kind of bashes through the air. And so there's going to be some inconsistency to dives. I'm really interested to see if props in helps that. It most certainly helps on Cinewhoops. My God, do Cinewhoops fly better props in. They actually kind of do everything better props in, if I'm honest. Is there a front and rear on this Meteor65 Pro frame? Yep. This is the rear. And so the arrow points forward. Okay, just like the other one. Good. All right, so here comes the frame swap. For the record, this electronics package is going to eventually get put back into a 65mm frame. I mean, unless it's really good in here, I guess. You know, this is this build right here. This is me trying to figure out what the ultimate freestyle Walksnail 65mm rig would be. So yeah, if it, oh god, that smells awful. I burped. So yeah, if this is like way better on this Meteor65 Pro frame, then hell, I'll keep it in here. I don't care. Well, it shouldn't say that. If it's starting to like knock shit over in the room and it's oh, I didn't weigh this. All right, hold on. It's empty enough that I'm gonna pop it out of this canopy real quick and I'm gonna get a weight. Because yeah, the extra weight. So there you go. Where the hell's my pointer? There it is. Here's another one. There's really nothing for you to see. I'm taking. What's happening here? Can you play, please? Yeah, I'm just pulling the AIO and camera and canopy out of one frame and putting it into another. This is not like mind-blowing stuff that I'm doing here that you guys really need to, are going to benefit from watching me do. All right, cool. So let me pop this out of here real quick, and we're going to get a weight so that we know what the difference is between the regular old Meteor 6. This is perfect because this Happy Model Cross AIO only really works in these old school Meteor frames because it has a really long USB port on it. It's kind of weird. And these old school Meteor 65 frames have the room for that extra long USB port. And so this is kind of perfect that we're going from a Meteor 65 frame to a Meteor 65 Pro frame. So the motors are going to be, yeah, the motor weights are going to be off. This is with these 603s that you kind of can't get. I wish I had 702s on here, but this is the best I can do. We're going to do dry weights because the batteries aren't going to change weight. 26 point, call it 27 grams. Is 26.92 grams. Call it 27 grams is the weight of the 65 millimeter, what you were watching a minute ago. Not this. This is an Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. So yeah, the 603 motored Gemfan 1208 tri-bladed Walksnail Mobula 6 canopy Happy Model Cross AIO BT 2.0 build is 27 grams. Let's see what happens. Somebody tag me and type 27 grams in the chat, because I'm going to forget that. Let's put it into the Meteor 65 Pro setup, and we'll see how that changes. We'll see how much that changes, I should say. Get this lined up here. Actually need to pull the camera and canopy off in order to get access to the front screw hole. You got to put the front screw in first, and then you put the other 3 in. And the long ass lens on the Walksnail camera, on the Walksnail Lite camera, gets in the way of that front screw. So yeah, you need to put that front screw with the canopy off, and then you can put the sides and rear screws in. All right, so let's do that right now. Is the difference not insane between? I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? It's a massive weight savings. But yeah, the difference between the Walksnail rig and the analog rig in terms of like flight characteristics is bananas. But to be expected, right? Like, obviously, when you've got roughly the same amount of power. So the Walksnail 65 setup would really benefit from these new motors that have come out on Tiny Whoop. The 802 EX 33000s and or the 702 36000s. They would really, really, really help these Walksnail setups. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there for sure. That's probably why this frame is going to end up right back in the regular old Meteor 65 frame. It's just, you know, it's so much lighter. The regular 65 millimeter builds are probably going to be quite a bit lighter. And for flying inside, that's super important. The lightweight is, I'm not going to say it's everything, but it's everything. All right, so we got these on here. Let me crank the rear screw down first. Well, actually, hold on. First, let's make sure that all of our wire runs are still neat and tidy to make sure there's not any weird shit going on from like vibrations or any of that garbage. And yeah, the VTX does hang over the frame a little bit, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. All right, so that looks fine. Let me just go pirate mode for a second here. That is one of the video wires. That looks fine there. Not video wire. It's one of the RX and TX wires. Okay, yeah, that looks fine. That's fine. All right, yeah, this should be good. This should be totally cool. That looks good. Wish these guys didn't cross over each other, but it's just sort of the way that the pads are laid out on the. If you're gonna do one of these Walksnail Tiny Whoop builds, use the Betaflight AIO. It just so happens that like the layout of the pads that you're gonna need on the Betaflight Betaflight Cross AIO. It makes it so that when you do your wire runs up to the Walksnail, the wires don't have to cross over each other. And when you're doing a build that's really tight like this, where you're trying to slam two boards really close to one another, that makes a big difference. You really cannot have, on these really high performance builds, you cannot have these boards be close and then have a bundle of wires in between the two boards, like hard mounting them together. You really want that the AIO with the gyro on it to be as free floating as humanly possible. You don't want anything pushing up against it or anything like that. So yeah, use the Betaflight AIO. And this Happy Model Cross AIO is acting really weird, and it could be an electrical noise problem. So yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have experience with this Happy Model Cross AIO, and or do you know any, like, I would love to know if racers have adopted this AIO. I'll bet that they haven't because the USB port is so goddamn long. Yeah, you know what? Don't buy this AIO, full stop. Just don't buy it. The USB port being really long is a nightmare. So yeah, this Happy Model Cross AIO can go to hell. Sorry, Happy Model. I love your regular Mobula 6 AIO, and I've probably helped you sell at least 100 of them, so I don't want to hear it. But yeah, this Cross AIO is no good. I don't understand why they used a USB port on it that's so excruciatingly long. All right. I think we're pretty much good. Now we just have to grab a set of motors. So, which motors do we run? We're going to be pairing these motors with tri-blades, so that immediately rules out 702s. And they're bigger tri-blades than normal. So that kind of rules out the 603 30,000s. Also, this I'm part of the reason I'm doing this is to see if these 603 30,000s are just too beat up. Oh. So yeah, 603s are out, which leads us down the road of 802s. I wish I had a set of 802 30,000 kV motors that were clean, but I don't think I do. With a bigger propeller that's also a tri-blade, going over 30,000 kV is probably not a good idea. But all of the 803, all of the 802 EXs that I have. So also, to keep weight down, we don't want to go with the full size 802s. We want the two-piece bell 802s. We want to go with the EX 802s, which are a one-piece bell, because they're lighter. They are not as durable, but with one of these Walksnail HD Tiny Whoops, you're not going to crash it as often or as hard. It's not going to be like a house bando basher. Mainly because of this cockamamie setup of the extra AIO board. This is just having a second board. Tiny Whoop frames were never meant for two boards like this. Like, this is this is the lightest weight possible setup, but it's never going to be ultra durable. So yeah, pairing this with the EX lighter weight 802s, in my opinion, is definitely going to be the way to go. The EX motors are notorious for dropping magnets. A magnet just fires out of the bell when you after you've flat bottom landed them a bunch of times on really hard surfaces. So yeah, the EX 802s are known to be not super durable. I've actually not had that failure happen, and I've put quite a few batteries through EX 802 motors. So I don't know, man. Maybe that was like just the first run or something like that. But yeah. I do have a set of EX 802 30,000 kV motors that I was kind of gonna never fly again. I think they're kind of beat up. But man, they would be the perfect motor for this. So I'm gonna use them. I'm gonna use these. We're gonna spin them up in Betaflight, and I'll be able to tell you whether or not they're beat up. If they if they are beat up, I'm probably gonna have the same problems. But yeah, I'm very tempted. What I should do is pull these brand new 802 33,000 kV motors off this build and put them on here. But I want to fly this build more. I'm intrigued by these motors on this build, and I'm not ready to take them off, put them on this, and then take them back off this and put them on here. As I talk about a lot, like, you know, every time you screw and unscrew stuff, it wears the screws and the holes, and eventually they're going to strip. So pulling this apart to put these on here just to pull them back off here and put them back on here is kind of silly. I'm just going to stress out the screw holes on the stators, which are already like infinitesimally small. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to grab these 802 30,000s off here, and we're going to give these a shot. Mainly because I never want to fly these motors on a 65mm frame again. But they would, I think they're kind of the perfect motors for this 65 Pro frame. So let's do it. If they're too beat up, I'll know it, and I'll probably order another set of these. Maybe not. if I can get this rig up in the air, maybe I'll add a little bit of extra filtering or something like that. Hopefully that cleans it up. If I can just get this thing up in the air on these motors, even if the tune is not locked in, if I can just get a feel for what the power to weight ratio is going to be with an 802 30,000 kV motor, if I love it, I'll order another set of these. If I don't love it, I'll leave these on this frame, and I'll probably put the Hummingbird AIO into this build, and then we'll have another cool little experiment. So yeah, that's what's going down. Everybody still with me? Everybody still... Am I talking nonsense? Big J 541 FPV says, you need Mobile's 6 Race Edition 25,802. I have been flying 802 25,000 kV motors for... Christ, over 2 years, I think, at this point. So yeah, there's probably like 100 hours of content on this channel if you go back in time and use the search function of me doing builds with 802 25,000s. The long and short of 802 25,000s is that it's not enough kV for a 65 millimeter rig. It's really good for a 75 millimeter rig, but the 75 millimeter rigs are heavy enough that with the 1 millimeter shaft, you end up bending those shafts very frequently. Lucky for us, tinywhoop.com had a couple of 802s made with a 1.5 millimeter shaft, which I've also reviewed to death and flown the shit out of here. They are both 25 and 27,000 kV. I really like the 27,000 kVs best. Yeah, I have a build that I call the Ultimate Jungle Gym Basher, which is on those 802 27,000s, and it's amazing for flying outside around jungle gyms. It's one of my favorite things to do. I mean, if I wasn't chasing the little RC drift cars all the time, it would still be my favorite thing to do, is fly that rig at jungle gyms. With that rig at a jungle gym, it's just amazing. Like, a jungle gym becomes the greatest spot you've ever flown because it's got gaps everywhere, crazy colors, dive gaps all over the place. It's just so cool, and like, nobody cares that you're doing it. Nobody's gonna yell at you. Nobody's gonna freak out. It's really an amazing thing to do. I highly recommend it. The build is super simple. It's just a Mobula 7 ELRS 1S. With the motor swap and BT 2.0 swapped over for the battery lead. So it's a very, very, very simple and not super expensive build that is just tons of fun, man. So I highly recommend that. Although you said Race Edition, is that what's the... I don't know if I've heard of that before. What's Race Edition mean? Is that a thing? Race Edition 0802 25,000. No, it's not a... I mean, I think it was a typo. You said Mobil, M-O-B-I-L apostrophe S. I'm assuming that was a typo, and you tried to type Mobula, but your phone corrected it to Mobile. Yeah, I don't know of a specific 802 that Happy Model ever called the Race Edition. Unless it's maybe this. So this is the motor that comes on the... But yeah, no, this is only 20,000 kV. This is the other 802 with the 1.5 millimeter shaft. Unfortunately, the kV is just way too low. 20,000 kV is kind of too low for anything. But this is what the Mobula 7 ELRS 1S will come with. But yeah, unfortunately, they're worthless. I'm assuming that Race Edition, you're referring to the EX motors. And yeah, they're okay, but they will not survive very long on a 75 millimeter build with that 1mm shaft. If you crash hard, if you fly hard and if you crash hard, you're gonna have problems, unfortunately. But there's a solution. From tinywhoop.com, our amazing friends over at tinywhoop.com. Tim Robbins says, best voltage warnings settings for a Hummingbird V3 with nectars on BT 2.0, and is there a way to lower the camera on it? I'm hitting walls, small living room. Unfortunately not. The Goober canopy is a fixed up tilt, but it is a pretty low fixed up tilt. So yeah, shit. Where did I say the red dot motors go? Is the red dot on the connector motors 1 and 4 or 2 and 3? Who remembers? Who remembers? Nick Burns is in the house again. What's up, brother? Glad to have you. Hurry up, hurry up. Somebody type it. Somebody will have remembered it. So Tiny Whoop some Happy Model Tiny Whoop motors have either a little red dot on the connector or no red dot on the connector, and that red dot designates either clockwise or counterclockwise. And I figured it out last week, and now of course I forget. Red. So there's two comments in the chat. John Goblin says, red dot is counterclockwise. McBucas says, red dot is clockwise. Welcome to FPV, my friends. John Goblin immediately says, don't listen to me. Who remembers where it goes? That's just as important. 2 and 3. Douglas Otwell says 2 and 3. Stephen Woodruff says 2 and 3. Awesome. Thank you, guys. We're going to go with that. It'll either be right or wrong. So motors 2 and 3. 1, 2. Okay, so motor 2, we're going to put red dot on. Thanks, guys. That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. That is Facebook FPV groups in a nutshell. You ask a question and you get completely opposite answers. Hey, look, it's human nature. That is also like human nature at its finest, right? Like we want to, if given the opportunity, we want to help, and that's great. I absolutely love that. But sometimes in our exuberance to want to help, we don't realize that like we're not 105,000% sure of the answer, and it's very easy to give the wrong answer. It's tough, man. Like, what's better, right? Like, what's better? A bunch of people that want to help and potentially give the wrong answer out of being excited to help, or the alternative is not great either, right? The alternative is like nobody wants to help because F you. Like, that's not great either. Kind of interesting. It's a fun little look at a part of human nature. All right, bolting these motors down. I have a feeling these motors are going to be a little bit too beat up for this, but I think that we should at least be able to get this in the air and get a feeling for the power to weight ratio, and just how these bigger 35 millimeter tri-blade propellers react to pair, I should say, with this motor. Again, I really, really, really wish that there was a 35 millimeter biblade. If this setup, if I see something magical in this setup, is what I'm going to say, I will certainly bug GemFan to do a 35 millimeter biblade. They'll probably tell me to go scratch because it's just a super not popular size. And fair enough. If they do, absolutely fair enough. But I'll at least throw it out there, The reason they will more than likely say to go to hell is that it's extremely expensive. Thousands and thousands of dollars to make a mold, to make these propellers. And so if you're not going to and propellers are not expensive items, right? So like, in order for them to even break even, in order for them to break even, they've got to sell an awful lot of these. And yeah, I'm not a big enough name to be like, well, I'll make sure that you sell. I mean, think about that, right? Like a pack of these Tiny Whoop props is what, $4? How many $4 sets of Tiny Whoop props do you have to sell? And this is without the material cost, right, and the marketing cost and all that. How many sets do you have to sell to get to $1,000? It's an awful lot. Somebody do that math and drop it into the chat, yo. Hockey Rounds with a $2 super chat. Thanks, brother. He says, the GOAT. Who? You referring to our Monday live stream? I consider SR13 to be the Tiny Whoop freestyle GOAT. I don't use the GOAT thing much. I don't know. Just popular sayings make me want to scream because like 8,000 people say them right away and they're just like instantly stale to me. But it's kind of a funny one. I think GOAT has been around long enough where it's like not cool anymore, and a lot of times that's when I'll kind of jump on it. Once something's not cool anymore, I'm in. I'm all for it. 27,000, is that no. No. They don't have to sell 27,000 sets of props at $4 each. Surely you're saying 27,000 as a KV? Off Axis says I'm joking. Okay, cool. For a split second, I was like, wow! And then I'm like, wait, no, I said $1,000. I mean, it does cost more than $1,000 to get a mold done. I'm just using that as like a nice round number. All right, hold on. I gotta go back and chat. I'm way behind on chat. You guys are going bananas, and I love it. Tim Robbins, I didn't answer your question. Best voltage warning setting for Hummingbird V3. I answered your second question. Here's what I'm going to recommend. Put at the end of... Okay, so leave the voltage settings alone. Fly to where you think you should land. Let the batteries sit. Do that with a bunch of batteries in a row. Let them sit, and then let them sit for like 15 minutes so they bounce all the way back up, and they're going to be a stable voltage, and then read the voltage on those batteries. If those batteries have settled after you've flown them to like 3.7 volts or 3.8 volts, between 3.7 and 3.8 volts per cell, your voltage warnings are set properly. That is what I always want. I always want my Tiny Whoop battery. I want to fly them down to the point where my voltage warnings say land now, and then I want them to bounce back up to minimum 3.7 volts. 3.7 volts, in my opinion, is close enough to 3.8 volts, where if I let this battery sit for a month, it's not going to be sitting there getting damaged the whole time. Every single one of us lands at a different point. So, right, like some of us land when it says low battery, some of us land when it says land now. And so, yeah, your voltage setting should be unique to you. So that's how I think you should do it. Fly all of your batteries, let them sit, read the voltage. That way you don't have to put them back on the charger to bring them up to storage voltage. You know what I mean? You can just fly all your batteries and just walk away. So yeah, your warning settings are all about you, and that's how you should. That's how I set my battery warnings. Ethan W says, I just finished my Pusher 65mm Walksnail. I put a picture over on CiottiFPV Reacts channel in the Discord if you want to see it. I do indeed. Oh man, I mean I am hanging in with my stomach, but it is angry. I have an angry stomach. Look at that. That is very cool. Look at this guy. What? Oh no, that's cool. That is cool. What a fucking dope way to mount this camera. That is awesome. With it toilet tanked. My main complaint about this is that you're gonna have a hell of a time keeping your CG centered with the battery left to right like that. Unfortunately, you had to do that though. There's no way to do it because of the USB port. There's no way to run the battery front to back. Dude, very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. Did you happen to get any... I'm leaving this open in a tab for inspiration. Did you happen to get any efficiency or just general, like, flying and... Oh, I forgot to charge batteries. What an asshole. Oh, fail. Usually I remember right at the beginning of the stream. Oh, no, I have a whole row of batteries charged. Woo! Saved by yesterday me. Yeah, did you have a chance to feel that thing out with it as a puller? Is my one main question. I'm super curious before and after. The pusher configuration is interesting, but I just don't like it as much as the puller config. So if given the chance, I will always build a puller, but to get the camera up front like that is super cool. Although I guess, so did you have that exact same setup as a puller? Same camera mount, same everything, and then you converted it to a pusher? I think we were talking about that the other day, right? Looks like a bunch of people just came over. Welcome, new folks. We are deep in it here. I'm waiting for Betaflight to open. Why is it taking so long to open? John Goblin says, do the analog. Soon. For sure. We're doing that for sure. Northern Tier says, just got a new Hummingbird V3. What version of ELRS is on the module 3.0? Can't get it to bind for shit. Mine actually binded super easily once I put the module that I have in that's on 3.0. So it's definitely on 3.0. Brad Mondin says, slice hand open this week, 7 stitches. Oh, fuck, dude, that sucks. That sucks, man. I am horrified of that. When I'm using knives or just doing anything that could potentially cut my hands, I am like kind of insane. Because of exactly that. So I just had this moment of absolute and utter confusion when I hit the button and absolutely nothing happened. And like I looked down at this, I was holding it like this. I looked down, I looked back up, I looked down. I was like, what the f-? And I was about to freak out. This happens to me more often than you'd think, where I forget to plug I do all of this, I screw everything down, and then I just forget to plug the motors in. And then I get into the motor tab, and I'm like, what? Why? I hate FPV! Dude, I'm so sorry, Brad. That is like such a nightmare, man. That is such an absolute nightmare. Hopefully maybe you gashed yourself in a spot that won't affect your ability to hold the transmitter, but I doubt it, man. We like really wrap our hands around. I hope he heals up quick, man. Start doing Google searches for like creams and lotions and stuff. Easy to make cuts heal faster. It's probably all bullshit, but you never know. It's probably not going to make the situation any worse, so maybe it'll help a little bit. You fucking sickos. What's wrong with you? You know who I'm talking to. Alright, there we go. Now the motors are plugged in. It'll work a lot better this way. There's some bubbling going on. I got some bubbling going on. I'm glad we got this much done because I don't know how much longer I've got before I have to run to the bathroom. And it's not going to be a quick bathroom break where I can come back. It's going to be a... this stream is over now. I'll see you guys on Friday, bathroom break. All right, here we go. Let's get these motors spinning in the right direction. Motor 1 is correct. Motor 2 is not spinning at all. That's not going well. What's happening, Motor 2? Why are you upset? You're plugged in. What else do you want? Oh, I hope one of the wires didn't break off the motor base. Hold on. That was weird. Motor 2 started spinning, but motor 1 wasn't spinning. I'm like, wait, what? Hold on, let me move the motor wire on motor 2. Nah, it seems like it's fine. That was weird. Motor 2 is wrong. Click it to reverse it. Motor 3 is right. Motor 4 is... Well, that's very weird. The only one that needed to be reversed was motor 2. It's always 2 motors that need to be reversed. Why is motor 2 not reversing? Motor 2 is refusing to reverse. What? Why? Motor 3 is fine. Motor 4 is fine. What the hell? What is going on with motor 2? How the hell? Oh, shit. Did this fucking AIO just explode? Channel 2 is acting really weird. Spin the other direction, you jackass! What are you doing? This is on Betaflight 4.43. Oh man, I have bad news about these motors though. These motor shafts are bent. Motor 2 is bad. And it refuses to spin the correct direction. I think I've had this one time before, and I couldn't really figure it out, so I just ended up reversing it in the ESC software. Yeah, motor 2 is still spinning in the wrong direction. That's weird. Motor 1 is right. Motor 3 is right. Motor 4 is right. Let me spin these up individually and just feel them. Whoa! 84,000. 84,000 kV. 84,000. 85,000. 84,000. Okay, so the motors are somewhat healthy. Let's try this one more time. Motor direction. I understand the risks. Wizard. Start and spin. Motor 2. I need you to spin the opposite direction, please. It refuses. Stop motors. I mean, it's set to spin opposite. Let's see if it's just not doing it. No, it just refuses. So, for some strange reason, I'm going to have to do that in the... Forgot this is a Walksnail rig. It's been plugged in this whole time. Shit, it's probably at 7 billion degrees. Oh boy, my stomach. Oh my god. Oh my god. Tonight's mailbag is from GemFan. He sent me a message and said, "Hey, your quarterly or whatever it is prop allowance is here. What would you like?" And I said, "One of everything, please, for Tiny Whoops." And they sent me a ton of Tiny Whoop propellers. These are pretty much for giveaways. So there are going to be giveaways coming up with massive Tiny Whoop prop packs of every single different. It's going to be like I think I'm going to do like one set of every single type of. Yep, here it comes. Here comes the rampaging ass juice. Oh, okay. That was not something that should have come out of my mouth. That's what she said. Wait, what? So, yeah. Thank you, GemFan. Very, very cool. GemFan is one of my very few sponsors. I have used their propellers from the start. I've always noticed that their propellers have been better balanced than HQ. And quite honestly, they're a company with better values than HQ. So, yeah, support GemFan if you want to support some awesome, amazing people. You might have seen something recently that GemFan put up. I can't get into any details about who the other prop company is or anything like that. All I can say is that GemFan is a company with awesome values and awesome people working for it. So, yeah, I will support them till the very end. And they've always been just awesome, just great people. Okay, so we got mailbag done. What else? Q&A, we got that done. Let me... I'm going to try to get caught up on chat. I don't want to leave a bunch of you guys hanging. There's probably really good questions in here. There are always really good questions in here. John Goblin says, Flywoo Goku Versatile VTX is cross-shaped and has a 250 milliwatt VTX. Really? Is that the... is that the AIO that I remember everybody complaining about, though? And I don't know if this is cross-shaped enough. I don't think this will clear. I think this AIO is... Don't quote me on this, but I believe this will contact... Right here will contact these frames. I could totally be wrong. And I also think I maybe remember a lot of complaints about this AIO. Jesus, it's also $80. That's a bit much. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody knows this to be a good AIO, let me know. Not many people run it, though, so I have a feeling it's not. But maybe. Feigning Goat says, do you still have that New Year's diaper? No, I threw it away. Nick Burns says, what? Harden your mom's house. What's that mean? What's that mean? I probably said something silly. CV says, is standing up risky? Was it green curry, coconut milk based, adult incontinence products maybe in order? We got a bunch of stuff. It's just, yeah, just Indian foods. The spices that they use are just too much for my weak ass stomach. I got a bitch ass stomach, yo. Sucks, but it is what it is. All right, this Walksnail VTX has had enough time to cool off. I'm going to put this thing into escconfigurator.com, and we're going to reverse motor number 2. Connect, read settings, and come on. Motor number 2, we're going to go to reversed, and we're going to write settings. Let's disconnect, and just to make sure it's saved, we're going to reconnect. I did that too quick. Shit. Come on. Reconnect. Read settings. Come on. Motor 2 is reversed. Awesome. And also confirming that this has BlueJ 0.16 on it. The good one. All right. Great. Perfect. Now the motors are spinning in the right direction. Let's throw some propellers on here. Nick Burns says, are you sick? I ate Indian for lunch, and I know better. MoFPV says, are you coming to Whooptopia? Unfortunately not. I cannot make it. Sorry, guys. H. Rich says, could you check my question way earlier in chat? Think I missed it, or perhaps it didn't. I should have covered it by now. I'm always, like, way behind. Mindhawk, thank you for typing 27 grams into the chat. Nick Burns says, gotta go. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging, brother, if you watch this on replay. Atomic Rebel says, would a 65mm 2S be worth trying? Absolutely not. It would become way too heavy. 2S batteries are very heavy. Basically, like 300 mAh is about as low as you're going to go on a battery that has any significant level of performance. I've tried. There are some 250 mAh batteries out there. They are so saggy. They work on like really lightweight setups, but boy are they saggy when you pair them with a motor that makes power. So yeah, realistically, a 300 mAh battery is the smallest. So if you go to 2S, you're going to have two 300 mAh batteries, and the battery weight is massive on these, and it's just going to be a super heavy 65mm rig, at which point you might as well do a 75. 75s on 2S are nuts. They're too heavy for indoors because now they're even heavier, but for outdoors, they're crazy. So yeah, if you were going to do that, it would you'd be best served doing it as a 75. Here we go. The props are on. Let's see if we can get this thing up in the air before I shit my pants. Traffics AU says, I put a question into the Troubleshooting Corner Discord channel. If you got a minute, it drives me crazy to figure out why. Do me a favor, Traffics. Tag me and drop it in here. MoFPV says, only had one of the Happy Model Cross and had a bad ASC out of the box. Not a good sign. Greenhorn MPV says, which slider should I mess with the most if getting hot motors running the Betaflight 27,000 kV blue and silver motors on ASI tri-blades? Other similar builds aren't hot. First thing you want to do is get it off of those ASI tri-blades. Those are so fragile that a lot of times when you're putting them on, you will bend one of the propeller blades, and then that would be the reason that you're having that behavior. Like, here's what I'll say. It's almost definitely a mechanical issue. But the answer to your question is the D-gain slider, but you can't just pull the D-gain slider down. You have to pull it down along with the P and I gain slider. So the very top two sliders, keep the ratio and pull those down in the same amount. Oh my God. Here we go. Let me just really quickly see if the damn thing flies. Hold on. These motors might be too banged up and it might just oscillate to the moon, in which case I will need to plug it right back into Betaflight. I think this is on ELRS 3.0. Come on, little buddy. Connect, you bastard. Connect! There it is. All right, let's see. Hold on. It's not, the motors are not winding down. Let's just go for it. I'm going to show you the effect that those sliders have right now, actually. And I'm going to take a bunch of PID gain out of this thing just to get the motors to wind down at 0 throttle, so that we can feel out this, why is that not coming up? Feel out this motor and prop combo. That should be coming up. Why is it not? Oh, nope, there it is. Awesome. All right, here we go. This battery is a little bit discharged down, but let's just run it down the rest of the way real quick, and then we'll do another battery on here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There it is. Cool, so we're going to go right into the OSD and simplified tuning, and oh yeah, we got these cranked. All right. I always recommend pulling them down 0.2 like that at a time. So you can see it's still not... The motors are still not coming down. Oh, and it's starting to brown out the VTX on hard throttle stabs. So... you gotta ignore the flight performance in terms of like prop wash handling and kind of bobbling around. All I'm trying to do is evaluate, does an 802 30,000 kV motor have enough jam? Unfortunately, with the PID loop freaking out like this, it's going to heat the motors up and they're going to lose some performance, but I can usually just kind of figure it out. We'll go in and we'll pull a little bit more. Well, you know what? Let's go into Betaflight and add some filtering. Real quick, like. Big J said... Oh, no, wait. Jake RD Racing says, just bought all my parts for my first Tiny Whoop. I've flown the Inductrix, but that was also a couple years ago. I'm so excited. You will not believe the difference in Tiny Whoops now versus then. Hopefully you bought your parts off of hopefully you're mimicking my Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop setup, because good lord, does that thing fly absurdly good. Even if you're not, though, any tiny whoop now versus the old Inductrixes is night and day. So we're going to go into PID tuning, we're going to go into the filter settings, and we are just going to add... Why the hell is the dynamic notch filter turned off? Oh, look at this. Dynamic notch filter is disabled. In order to use it, make sure the PID loop frequency is set at least 2K. Wow. Okay, so this board came with the PID loop frequency at 1.6. So I thought maybe they did that because the processor would get overloaded at 3.2, and so I left it. But apparently that turns... I did not know that. Apparently that turns off the dynamic filter, which is real bad. Real bad. So that would be why this thing was having problems in the other frame. Alright, we got our dynamic notch filter back. This thing's probably totally fine now. But the CPU load is up at 50%, so that could cause a problem. Let's see. Wow, that's weird. Why are they shipping the... Yo, that's a huge problem. Shipping a flight controller with the PID loop frequency in a spot where the dynamic filter won't work is, like, that is awful. That is an awful idea. Like, the RPM filter, RPM filter is magic and all, but it does not hit any of the frame resonance frequencies, which is brutal. Let's see. I'm not going to change a goddamn thing other than to get that filter back on here, and this is probably going to be way better. Let's see. It's still not spinning down. It's still... Oh, God! It's still not spinning the props all the way down at 0 throttle, but it's also not browning the... Oh, boy, this thing is heavy. It's also not browning the... Oh, I gotta weigh it. Browning the VTX out. But this is a fresh battery right now. Okay. It flies pretty bad. I've got the PIDs turned way down, though, which is the main part of that reason. Motor 2 is now not spinning up. There it goes. So, EX802 30,000s, full throttle. They make some power, and now it's starting to brown the VTX out again when I hammer the throttle. Oh, God. Come on now. Fuck you! Stop it! Great, and now that's an unrecoverable spot. You son of a bitch. Alright, hold on. Fail. God damn it. Okay. Let's fly the rest of this battery. We will get it on the scale. My stomach actually started to feel better. I think I got over whatever horribleness was going on a minute ago. Motor 2 is not spinning up. There it goes. Oh my God, it's so heavy. Oh, come on. There we go. Wow, it's so heavy. Okay. I don't know what I was doing there. I was like looking over to the right. That was very, very strange. So far I'm not impressed, but I really hate tri-blades. God damn it. I really wish that yeah, that we had some bi-blades for this propeller size. Alright, let's get it on the scale. Hold on. So this is now even heavier than it was, obviously, on the smaller frame with the smaller motors. I think it was 37... what was it before? Was it... This is saying 27.4 grams. I seem to remember it being 27 grams before, but that doesn't make any sense. There's no way it only added 0.4 of a gram. There's no way. I went from a 603 to an 802. Wasn't it 27 grams before? Hold on. It was. What? How the hell is that possible? 27.4. What? Okay. Let's see if we can get the tune sorted. If it really only gained 0.4 of a gram, the only reason to not do this is the unavailability of bi-blades. And I only tried it on the tri-blades here recently. Previously, the previous version of this build on 702 30,000 kVs, I did run on bi-blades. So this build is going to end up back in a 65 mil regular frame on high kV bi-blades, probably the 36,000 kV, and it'll probably be the best on there. But let's keep going here. It feels very heavy though. Of course, it's got 6 extra grams of ass on it. Let's make the Q factor lower. Let's kick this max frequency up a little bit. I don't really want to add any more filtering than this. Like this is a lot of filtering. If I add more than this, it's going to start. There's the potential that it's going to get over filtered, and that can cause as many issues as not enough filtering. Not as many, but it can still cause problems. Okay, cool. Let's leave the PID gains alone. Let me, just as an experiment, let me take out some of the Dmax. It might be vibrating so hard that it's like always in Dmax. Okay, let's try that. Interesting. I need to reset my expectations. Of course it's gonna feel fat and heavy with Walksnail on board. I need to just basically lower my expectations for this. This is the previous setup of this felt just as fat and heavy. I don't like freestyling these Walksnail setups because of how heavy they are and feel. But good lord, is the video quality amazing. Let's see. I'm not like blown away though by this motor and propeller combination. I don't hate it. Ugh, Jesus Christ. But it's, oh my god, yes. There's a definite lack of thrust. That did not sound good. I hope I didn't just hurt the fucking TV. Alright. Let's put... Oh boy. I wonder what the runtime's gonna be like. Oh, come on! Okay, now it just won't take off? Alright. This... Oh my god. This happy model AIO can go to hell. I can't wait. Yeah. Yeah, this is... Yeah, this AIO is garbage. Hopefully it'll die. And then I can replace it with one of the Betaflight crosses. Wow, minute and 20 seconds and we're already at 3.4 volts. That's brutal. Oh, God. I don't think... Oh, no, it won't take off again. No, it won't take off again. Okay, yeah. And now it's the back... It's the back left motor. Yeah, okay. I definitely don't buy the Happy Model Cross AAO. This thing is trash. Yeah, the motor number 3 is no longer working. And I know these motors are fine. Fuck off. Hang on. I think 75 is... Man, I don't know. It's hard. It's really tough. Like, in terms of power to weight ratio, 75 is probably going to be the way to go on these Mobula setup, HD setups. No, it's motor 2. Motor 2 is the problem again. It is just not. Yeah, and it's twitching. Yeah, the motor 2 ESC is blown up. Well, at least I got 3 batteries on it. I think I flew 1 battery on the other rig with this. So yeah, this Happy Model died after just a couple... Oh, no, now it's back. Oh, no, it's going in and out. Well, if it's going to work at all, I want to get a little bit more time in the air with it. Hold on. Hold on, please! What can I say here? What can I say here? What can I say here? More testing is needed. What I really need to do is put this back into a 65 frame and run the 36,000 kV 702s. They could be the game changer for this, for a freestyle Walksnail build. Just because they're so light and they make so much power. Trying to get caught up on chat here too. YouTube is just randomly scrolling me all around the screen, all the goddamn screen. All right. Oh god. Come on, don't overheat. Let me just give this VTX a second to cool down. Whoa! What the fuck was that? That's what? Why is the battery down at 3.02? What the hell? That's a fresh battery. I have no idea where it is. Here it is. What was that about? What the hell? And it's back. Why are you back? What's happening here? Could just be a bad battery. Shouldn't say bad battery. Should say a battery that I've destroyed. Oh yeah, this battery is worthless. Okay, yeah, alright, so another battery that I've destroyed from over discharging it, more than likely. When that happens, take a little marker. Get yourself some Sharpie metallic markers, and take the red metallic Sharpie marker and put an X on the battery. Don't throw it away yet. Put a red X on the battery. Where the hell is it? There it is. Put a little red X on that battery and see if it happens again. And if it happens again, then you throw it away. But hang on to it for a minute longer. For one more cycle. Potentially one more cycle. Alright, here we go. Red dot, red dot, red dot. Kevin Summers says the old Mobula 6 had standard 19,000, race 25,000. I thought so, okay. Yeah, those are old school motors. Been around a long time. Kevin Summers says, I think it's clockwise. I originally thought it was counterclockwise. Changed directions on all my motors. Mick says, just built a brand new rig last night and checked this, but I do always switch to props in. Why is it... Stop! Why is that happening? God damn it, YouTube. Stop randomly scrolling the chat around. Christ. My God, what is wrong with you? Oh, wow. Yeah, the YouTube chat is just all fucked up. Hold on. BTX is overheating because it's been plugged in for more than 5 seconds. Hey, the extra filtering did help. It's getting... Oh, man, it's still heavy. Yeah, the extra filtering did help. I wonder if I can... Pid gains are still way too low, though. Oh, fuck. Hey, there we go. It looked like it wasn't going to go into... What? Why are the fucking pid gains all zeroed out? Why is it on pid profile 2? What is happening? Oh, I know why. Hold on. Let's see if it can handle that. Let's see if it can take that. Much better. Much better. And it's... Oh boy, wow, there was a lot of latency in the Walksnail system compared to analog. I can hear the tiny whoop hit things as I'm seeing that thing get closer. Oh my God, this thing is... Again, I'm expecting way too much. I'm expecting way too much. I need to remember that this is a Walksnail rig. This is not a regular freestyle rig. This is actually pretty goddamn good for a 1080p 60 frame per second Walksnail rig. I'm just very spoiled by how good the analog rigs fly. Ah! This is legitimately hard to fly, though. Fair warning. If you do a build like this and you expect to fly it in your house hard, it's going to be tough. Alright, starting to brown the VTX out. We got to bring it back. Man, the runtime is really short. Minute and 40 seconds. So... I don't really know what to say here. Like, I don't think that I have flown these Walksnail freestyle setups enough to really, like, Yeah, this is tough, man. This is really tough. These motors are not bad. These motors pair decently with these propellers. Look at that. I was able to get the pid tune into a place where there's zero bounce back. There's a little bit of wobbliness every once in a while when it goes really hard into prop wash, but that could be because I turned the Dmax down. So let me turn the Dmax back up. I'm going to turn it up even higher than I normally do, too. And that might take care of it. Okay, now that one motor is not running anymore again. Oh, there it goes. You know what? For a Walksnail rig, oh, fuck, this ain't bad. I can't believe how noticeable the latency is, though. That's kind of wild. And I mean, it's not like I can see in the bottom the latency is sticking at like 29 milliseconds, 30 milliseconds. It's just, you know, I'm used to analog at like half that, like even less than half that. Interesting. That's gonna be stuck, isn't it? I'm not gonna. Oh, hey. All right, so this is a good baseline. Oh man, the runtime. I wonder if building this in the smaller frame and running it high kV on bi-blades would really help with the runtime. Whew, shit. Minute and 30 seconds of runtime is a deal breaker. Yes, these propellers are bigger, but they don't seem to be really helping with longer runtimes. And wow, I just blew through all those batteries. Usually I just say, hey, buy more batteries, but this is kind of like, I can't even get into it. Oh, come on. There we go. But I can't even, like a minute and 30 seconds is so short that, like, I can't really settle in. But, But this is an interesting baseline. I mean, there's a chance that for Tiny Whoop Freestyle, it's analog. Like, there's a chance that indoor freestyle is and will always be analog. These things are so lightweight, and they really need to be lightweight to do all the crazy shit that we want to do. Although, here we go. I mean, oh, fuck. Oh my god. Come on, man. Interesting. It's a shame the battery's dead, and this is the last battery. I have the white balance manually set for the drift car place, which is why it's so yellow upstairs. All right, and that's the end. As soon as you see the VTX starting to brown out like that, you gotta come home. Minute and 25. Yeah, see, that's. Ooh, that's tough, man. Minute and 20, minute and 25, minute and 30 runtime. Are you guys willing to have runtimes that low? I don't know if I am. I feel like I take off, I start to, like, okay, fly, and then it's done. And I have to come back. Part of that is because of the tri-blades. Like, it's great that these propellers are a little bit bigger. That's going to add a little bit of extra efficiency, but being forced to run a tri-blade versus a smaller bi-blade, I can almost guarantee you that the smaller bi-blades are going to be more efficient. So that right there could be sort of like the nail in the coffin of this bigger frame. But in fairness, I have not flown this Walksnail Freestyle setup enough to, like, with any amount of confidence say that. So we gotta wait. We gotta wait on that. This was a cool baseline. We've got a bunch of flight footage that we can look at in the future to refer back to. But yeah, this is interesting. This is like I said, the biggest thing here is that I need to fly this a bunch in order to get, like, any kind of a baseline in my brain. Tell me this frame didn't break already. Some of those crashes were pretty nasty, especially that one coming down the stairs. Hold on, let me see. No. I just didn't screw that in quite enough. I'm actually surprised that this thing is... I don't know. I'm very worried about the Walksnail setups in terms of durability. So any crash. It taking the crashes that it just did is pretty impressive. I'm gonna leave it in this frame for now. I'm gonna do my 6 batteries a day only on this. I'm just gonna fly this for a while to get adjusted to it, and then we're gonna put it back into a regular 65 frame and see how it is. I guess at that point I might as well put it directly onto 702 36,000s. That's going to be the motor for these builds. So yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. I wish I could tell you more, but it's really occurring to me that I need way more stick time on this heavy of. This is heavier than like 65 millimeter motor-to-motor tiny whoops have ever been. Luckily now we've got more power than ever before, but that power is getting eaten up by all the extra weight. So it's really difficult for me to kind of figure this out. What I am really happy about is that we were able pretty easily to get the tune into a place where it's pretty locked in. Like the response time of these EX802 30,000s on these 35 millimeter tri-blades is good enough. So that's awesome. That's like really good. So if you're desperate for a 65 millimeter Walksnail rig, this is a totally valid setup, I think, right now. We did a bunch of stuff. I did a bunch of power loops and a couple big off throttle throws, right? Like, it's not bad. I have incredibly high expectations of the way a tiny whoop flies. Sometimes unrealistic expectations, and so I'm really trying to kind of manage that and not just like, this sucks, next. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Super interesting. Super interesting. I cannot wait to get this back into the regular Meteor 65 frame with really lightweight motors. I didn't realize that these 603s were as heavy as they are. So yeah, these 603s need to come off of here, and I will get a Mega KV 702 on here. Cool. This is a big chunk of progress here for trying to figure these freestyle Walksnail rigs out. Whoever suggested pairing it with the Meteor 65 Pro frame, thank you. That was a great idea. Yeah, cool. This is really good. The a minute and 30-second runtimes though are a big problem. That is like not enough. I mean, that means you can go 45 seconds out and 45 seconds back. Like that's gonna, like, you're gonna get like halfway down the block. Like that's not enough. Real quick, let's see what these batteries are bouncing back to. They're gonna bounce back to 3 point. Oh, I got them all mixed up. Oh wait, here. No. This one. This is the one that. Yeah, no. See, so this is the battery that I put the red X on. Here's how I know this battery is going in the garbage can. It was browning out the VTX and dropping way down. Look where the voltage is. It bounced all the way back up to 4.09 volts. So this is a battery that the internal resistances are so high that when you fly it and you ask for a bunch of amps from it, it just falls on its face. But then the voltage, the milliamps are still in here. It just can't deliver them quick enough. So this battery is junk and is going in the garbage can, but I'm going to discharge it first so it doesn't light shit on fire. Where's my little discharger? If you don't have a little battery discharger for Tiny Whoop batteries, it's nice to have. Tiny Whoop sells them. It's this tiny little guy. And yeah, it just discharges batteries down nice and slowly. It's got a little LED on it. can't even see it. It's a purple LED. But yeah, this will discharge it down. I think it just pulls it down to storage voltage, but throwing it away at storage voltage is way better than 4.09. Although the internal resistance is probably so high that it wouldn't light anything on fire anyway. That battery is well and truly trash. Interesting. Super interesting stuff. My brain is going a million miles an hour trying to figure out what just happened and how to just how to make this work. How the hell do we make a really lightweight, safe to fly inside and realistic? So, like, did you guys notice, like, the crashes that were happening were, like, usually when I crash, it's because, like, I tried to fire it all the way across the room inverted and, like, skim the ceiling, or, you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to do big, crazy shit. The crashes with this were just me trying to, like, turn the corner over there. And the extra weight is just dragging it. And so, yeah, weight is like a big, big, big problem with these Walksnail builds. And going with a bigger frame and bigger propellers and bigger motors adds weight. So I am really hesitant to suggest that I really think that this thing on 702's 702 36,000 kV motors is going to be the answer, because it's the way for us to pull the weight down. And I think reducing the weight is going to be the biggest factor in improving the way this thing flies inside, and it's also going to make it safer to fly inside for your personal belongings and stuff like that, right? So yeah, and I think that it might actually also help the run. The runtime issue is brutal on this right now, and you don't have to fear the KV, right? Like, I know there's someone out there thinking, well, what are you talking about, you idiot? If you go to a 702 36,000 kV, obviously it's going to be way less efficient than an 802 30,000 kV. That is not true at all. If I put a battery on this thing and went full throttle for the entire battery, that would be correct. But that's not how we fly. When we fly freestyle, we cruise around at like 30% throttle for 99% of the battery. And for a sum total of like 1% of the battery, we're at full throttle. With freestyle, we cruise and then we go full throttle for a split second, and then we're right off of it. So really high kV motors almost don't affect the runtime at all. And you get a massive benefit with a 702 motor because it's significantly lighter weight. So going from an 802 30,000 kV motor down to a 702 36,000 kV motor, even if we were to run them both on tri-blades, the 702 setup is going to get significantly more runtime. And then we put the 702 onto a bi-blade, and it's going to get even more runtime. So, yeah. That's a shame, man. There's a chance that if there was a bi-blade for this, in this 35mm size, that it would add a significant amount of runtime. But I don't think that it would add enough extra runtime to make this a valid setup. Also, we would then need to crank the KV up, which is fine. We could do that. We have the 33,000 kV EX802s now available. But I really think that we need to get this off of 802s and onto 702s. I really think that we need that weight savings. That is going to be... shaving weight is going to be the way that we get more efficiency, right? When it comes to all-up weight, that is weight that it has to carry the entire time it's in the air. So, you know, look at long-range rigs, right? Long-range rigs are, well, no, they're not a good example because 5-inch long-range rigs, 6, 7, 10-inch, they just keep putting bigger and bigger and bigger batteries on there. We can't do that. We do not have space for a bigger battery. We are limited to realistically a 300 mAh battery. So weight is going to be the way that we get extra runtime. Saving weight is going to be the biggest contributing factor, I think. Even 3-blade versus bi-blade, I think that saving weight is going to be the main way that we get extra runtime. So that's going to have to be the focus of this build, I think, to get the runtime at least to 2 minutes. I think I really do feel that like 2 minutes is my bottom in terms of runtime. What do you guys think? Are you guys willing to have a rig that runs for less than 2 minutes? Is that just me being a spoiled little bitch? Let me get caught up on chat and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Trying to figure out where I'm at in chat. Nick Mucus built a brand new rig last night and checked this, but I do always switch to props in. Hockey Rounds, thanks again for the super chat. Off Axis says 27,000. I don't know what that's in reference to. It's been like an hour since he posted that. Hockey Round says, of course, Denzel the Turbo says, it's funny, in college I had a buddy had a sheet of red dot stickers and we would put one on the door to indicate to the roommate we were entertaining a visitor, like a sock on a doorknob. Red Dot Club. H. Rich says, can we do a deep dive on SRK FPV and Tricky FPV? SRK I know. I actually don't know Tricky FPV. YouTube, what are you doing with the chat, man? Stop moving the chat around on me. It's never done it this bad. They must have changed something, as they do every 15 minutes. I feel like every single live stream, YouTube has changed something for no real reason, and most of the changes they make stuff worse. I'm opening up tabs with SRK and Tricky. Hey, what did you guys think of Monday night's live stream? Was that cool? To really focus on... So I usually really only focus on like flying specific specific flying stuff like that in my Fiverr sessions, in like the one-on-one sessions where people come to me for flight instruction. I don't typically dive too deep into that on the live streams because I know like most of what people want to see is technical stuff. So yeah, what did you guys think of Monday's stream, diving into SR13 and just, I mean, we just talked about like the deep dark secrets of flying for that entire like hour or so span. We can certainly do more of that. I definitely want to do that again. I feel like I learned a lot, which selfishly makes me want to do that more. If you guys liked it, then yeah, that could become like, if I can figure out a funny alliteration, that could become a thing that we do every week. So yeah, let me know. Hurry up. Let me know in the chat because I'm going to get caught up and then I'm going to go take a horrible bathroom visit. For anybody that's coming in late, I made a terrible judgment and had Indian food for lunch. My stomach, I've always had stomach issues, and yeah, Indian food always triggers it. So, but sometimes I just don't think. CMYK is in the house. Yo! I finally got this shirt, dude. It was at my old address for God knows how long. Thank you, brother. Very cool. Nick says, is there any secret to removing stock battery leads from a Mobula 6? Not really. You can either heat up the solder joints on the AIO and pull the whole battery lead out, or you can leave the battery leads and just remove the connector and swap the connector from PH 2.0 to BT 2.0. I don't know if I've ever tried to desolder a PH 2.0 connector. I think I've always just cut the wires as close to the connector as possible. But yeah, no real secret. Steven Woodruff says, I love mailbags. Kevin Sumner says, there's a bug in Betaflight that prevents changing direction. What? Since when? Prop Junkie says Betaflight 4.3 and higher can't change direction. What? Since when? Are all of my rigs just on Betaflight? No, I have rigs on 4.3. What? Kevin Summers says fixed in Betaflight 4.5, configured at 10.10. That's odd. Brandon Bean says the VTX on my Goku AIO sucked balls. It's in the trash pile now. Yeah, I thought I'd heard that Goku VTX 1S AIO is crap. John Goblin says disregard. There's no version with ELRS and a VTX. Cool. Lights Camera Coffee says I have a stock Meteor65 Pro and destroyed the AIO. I have to build something either lighter or faster. Keep anything from the Whoop or better just starting from scratch. Meteor65 Pro. And you're saying that the AIO died. Meteor65 Pro. The canopy is way too heavy. The camera is probably okay, but you're gonna have to find it. Definitely don't run this canopy. It's way too heavy. What motors? 802 19,500 kV motors. Those are junk. Get rid of them. In my opinion, the bigger frame and propellers are junk. Get rid of those. And that's the whole rig. Sorry. Keep the camera. You might be able to use the camera on something. Definitely keep the camera. Keep the frame. Keep the motors. Down the road, maybe you do a Walksnail setup and maybe we figure out a magical way to make this work. I doubt it, but keep the frame and the propellers. The motors are worthless. 19,000 kV, 19,500 kV is too low for anything. It's even too low for 75mm rigs. So, I mean, keep them. Like, maybe you build a rig someday to help somebody else fly. But, yeah, none of these components are anywhere near the performance that you can get from the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. And that's really the direction you want to be headed, because it just flies so much better than like anything else. That's what you want. Do yourself a favor, and yeah, go that route. Justin Waller says, what motors would you choose for a 75mm racer? Yo, I'm not the guy for racing. Tiny Whoop racing, there is a big efficiency component to that. And those guys are using 40, 50, 60% throttle for the entire battery. And that is just completely different than Freestyle. So yeah, I have no idea. 65mm, I do have some idea. A lot of guys run 702s around 26,000 kV, but I have no idea what happens when you go up to 75mm. I'm just not the guy, and I don't know who is the guy. I don't know anybody racing 75mm, although as I say that, I feel like, isn't Underground Whoop League 75mm? But don't they also have a spec motor that you have to run? Somebody in chat will confirm that. Sorry, dude. I just have no idea. You said, I'm thinking the iGal motors, but want to hear your opinion. The iGal motors would be a great idea. The iGal motors or the snowblowers are a great idea because they've got the thicker motor shaft. And with racing, you're going to crash a lot. So, yeah, I think snowblowers, 25,000 kV for a little tiny bit more efficiency, but I would actually go iGal motor and then just motor limit them down for extra efficiency. Blizzard FPV says, Discord troubleshooting corner. After this, I'll jump into Discord and see what I can find. Traffics AU says, from Discord, before you, very peculiar problem, one of my two Mobeetle 6s. So I think that the Mobeetle has the Diamond AIO. So if you're having any problems, it's probably because that AIO is awful. Those AIOs were mismanufactured from the factory. They don't have enough capacitance. They have massive electrical noise problems. They're a disaster. So don't spend too much time troubleshooting anything with a Diamond AIO. Just throw that AIO into the goddamn river, and your life will drastically improve. But let's keep reading. One has the BMI 270, which I fly naked and it flies fine in acro and angle, which we rarely do outside. The other one is MPU 6000 and it has basically the same rates in PIDs. I tried others too and it flies totally fine on angle mode inside. But when I switch to acro, it behaves like I have a half a second of latency. I can't really describe it any better. As soon as I switch from angle to acro, it flies sluggish. Really hard to control. Stick inputs feel like it lags behind, which makes no sense. Well, so, okay. When you switch from angle to acro, I think... Brandon, are you still in here? Is the PID loop completely deactivated in angle mode? I feel like in angle mode, it doesn't use the PID loop. It uses some other weird shit. But as I say that, I don't know how that would work. I don't know how you would make one of these things fly without a PID loop. Or maybe it's got its own set of PID values that it runs in angle mode. If that's the case, hopefully somebody can kind of confirm that. If that's the case, the problem could be that you have the PID set. Even if the PIDs were way overactive. Try this. Try this. Go into the filters sliders. Go to the PID sliders. And the very first two PID sliders, the very first one is D gains, the second one is P and I gains. Take those two sliders. If they're at 1.0, move them up to 1.5 and fly the rig and see if anything changes. Now, take them from 1. It might actually just oscillate to the moon when you do that. Fine, unplug it. Take those sliders from 1.5 and move them all the way down to 0.5 and fly it. And see what kind of an effect that has. The only thing that I can think of is that in angle mode, it's not using your PID values. It's using some pre-cooked set of PID values, or there is no PID loop at all, and there's some other weird thing. And then when you go to angle mode on that rig, there's either a lot of vibrations or not a lot of vibrations, and once the PID loop is activated, it's just going crazy. So yeah, try that out. Drastically, what I'm telling them to do, guys, is drastically change the PI and D values. All the way up and then all the way down. That is the first troubleshooting step here because this is such a weird issue. That's going to tell me whether or not the PID loop is a part of this problem. So yeah, and it's a free, easy thing to try. So do that first and... post again in Discord and we'll figure it out. We'll all figure it out together. Kevin Summers says, listen to those motors chatter. Yeah, they're beat up for sure. MacFPV says, do you have the Walksnail power going to Vbatt or a 5-volt pad? Wonder if the VCX issue is not getting clean power. I run all of these Walksnails off of Vbatt. The Walksnail board has its own 5-volt BEC, so give it as much power as you can and then let it sort that out. If you run it off of the 5-volt BEC on your AIO, then you've got one 5-volt BEC feeding into another, and I try not to do that. So yeah, I always recommend with these Walksnail builds that you send them Vbatt. Like, even though with these 1S batteries, they're less than 5 volts, this Walksnail 1S board was designed to deal with that. Like, it was designed to run off of 1S lipos. So give it that 1S voltage and let it figure it out. It's not going to help to feed it 5 volts from the AIO's 5-volt back, because like the 5-volt back on the AIO is not like able to get more power out of the battery, right? Like, having the battery wired directly up to the VTX is going to give it the most possible, the most energy possible, right? Putting that energy source behind another 5-volt back, it's not going to like boost anything, right? Even though it's going to move it up to 5 volts, it's not like boosting the power. Does that make sense? So yeah, with the Walksnail setups, always feed them Vbatt and let the onboard BEC do its thing. I've tried it both ways, and yeah, it works better off of Vbatt. CMYK says, just noticed this sweet shirt of the day. It is indeed. Thank you, dude. How long ago did you order this shirt? How long has it been sitting at my old address? Ethan W says, just flew the 75 millimeter HD pusher, and it flies great, 37% throttle to hover, and it easily got 2 minutes 45 seconds. Crazy stable too. I love it. Keep flying it, Ethan, and let us know how it flies compared to the setup as a puller. Tim Robbins says, hey, Kevin, do you have a Hummingbird V3? And if so, have you made the performance better? And how do you do it? CiottiFPV, that's a question for you, too, besides, I know you shouldn't, you should have a stock one. So, Tim, go to my channel here and use the little search function. So when you go to anybody's channel, that's not it at all. There's a little tiny magnifying glass here that will allow you to search in only their channel. So search for Hummingbird, and I did an entire series of live streams where I flew it, upgraded it, pounded the snot out of it. Yeah, all of your questions about the Hummingbird V3 shall be answered in these 5 live streams. You're going to love it. Basically, put it onto BT 2.0, put Blue Jay 0.16 onto it, go with the Newbie Drone 0702 29,000 kV motors, and it rips. It flies really good. Not as good as the Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop, but damn close. Amarul says, is it okay to use 1002 22,000 kV for a 3-inch toothpick? What propeller? I don't know. My guess would be that a 3-inch prop is going to be a little too big for a 1002. I don't really do toothpicks. The very first rig I ever flew 8 years ago was a toothpick. I flew thousands of batteries on that and other similar builds for my first couple of years, and just completely burned out on the way that toothpicks fly. I've revisited toothpicks since then, and I don't like how they fly. They don't have enough weight to carry when you come off throttle, and that just drives me mad. I absolutely love to momentum throw quads up over stuff. It's just super, super, super fun. So I'm not really the guy. I'm not the toothpick guy anymore. But I'm pretty sure that 1002s are a little small for a 3-inch propeller. I think they would be better for a 2.5-inch propeller, or maybe even a 2-inch propeller. 22,000 kV is probably enough kV if you're going to do like a 2.5-inch toothpick build. Might be a bit much for 3-inch. So yeah, to my knowledge, and in my experience, the really hot 3-inch toothpick setup is a 1204 motor at like 10 to 12,000 kV on 2S. Hold on. I might have that wrong. Let me see. What are these? Yeah. No. I'm a little high on that kV. 8,000 kV, 8 to 10,000 kV, 1204 on 2S rails. That's what I'm going to recommend. A 1204 doesn't sound like it's that much bigger than a 1002, but oh my God, is that it is way bigger. 1204 versus 1002. That's almost twice as much stator volume. If nothing else, think of this, right? 1002, that's how the motor sizing works, right? So 2 millimeters tall versus 4 millimeters tall. That stator is twice as tall. And the height of the stator is what does all the work. The way the windings work, the vertical part of the winding is what pulls the magnet over. So the height of a motor has a ton to do with how much power it will make. The width of the motor also is important, but not nearly as important as the height. If you change the height of a motor by 1 millimeter, it's a massive difference. So if you change it by 2 millimeters, it's like ballistic. So yeah, that 2S, that ends up being a pretty powerful toothpick, which is what I want. I know there's all of these like really lightweight 1S toothpicks. I've flown a bunch of them. None of them have nearly enough power for me. So yeah, I'm just, here's what you can do, Emerald, is take a look at the bind and fly toothpicks that are out there and look at what motor size and KV and propeller size that they've got, and then go a little bit bigger than that. Go a little bit higher on the KV, go a little bit bigger on the motor. Most of the bind and flies are kind of built for beginners. So an easy thing to do is just pump it up a little bit wider, a little bit taller, a little bit higher KV, and then you're going to have something that just rails and you're going to really dig. Kevin Sumner got that. John Godwin 26.92. Kevin Sumner says, aren't the 603s like 0.5 grams over the 702 each? From what I remember, the weight of the 603s was dead in the middle of 702 and 802 EX. I don't understand why this isn't heavier than it is compared to how I had it built on this. So yeah, I'm a little bit confused by that, but the 603 thing is whatever. Freelojo says, need to make bi-blades, tell Gem Fan. We talked about it, but yeah, I don't think that this setup is gonna gain 30 extra seconds of runtime with bi-blades. And if I can't get this to 2 minutes, I'm gonna be kind of pissed. I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna go down the 702 crazy high KV road to bring the weight down as low as possible, and I think that's how I'm gonna like this the best. Yeah. CMYK says the video feed is blipping out too. God damn it. That's the cable. That's a cable problem, which is very annoying because I thought this cable was good. Boy, oh boy, am I behind. Ken Herron was here. Ken, I hope you're still here. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. He says, howdy whoopers. Wow, I'm so behind on chat. Holy crap on a pancake. Propchenki says you're overheating. It's always overheating. Ghost Branch says you should get yourself one of these small pocket fans that you can charge via USB. I always have one handy just to keep stuff from overheating. They're super cheap. If you're still here, Ghost Branch, I have the ultimate fan set up. This is the Gangly fan made by Douglas Otwell. And it's got a little barrel plug on it, so I can run it off of goggle batteries. It's amazing. I was just lazy today about getting it out. Anytime I do builds where I know it's going to be plugged in for a while, I get the Gangly fan out. It's amazing. You can win yourself a Gangly fan by coming to the first Monday live stream of every month. The fourth giveaway that I do is going to have a Gangly fan in it for the next 4 months because Douglas Otwell just sent me 4 more. So yeah, if you want your own Gangly fan, that's how you get them. Kevin Sumner says, after plenty of time doing HDZero on tiny whoops, I find 65 millimeters too small to run a stacked VTX. Now all of my 65s are analog for almost a year. 75 is where the extra weight is okay. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, but I'm gonna try everything I possibly can to get a Walksnail 65 millimeter rig going. I'm very happy with the cinematic Walksnail 65, but for cinematic stuff, the quality of the video is really, really important. For freestyle, it's kind of not. So yeah. Jules FPV says, happy to see you live streaming this time. Glad you got to see one, brother. Live, that is. Stephen Woodruff says, are you going to post any videos or edits soon? I have a bunch of edits that are like almost done. I just need to yeah, I just need to find time for them. Now that the holidays are over, I'll have more time. So the answer is yes. H. Rich says that momentum is huge to adjust to with the added weight. Yep, for sure. Metal Hudson says, I'm 2 hours late. Just need you to recap the whole stream for me. No! Luckily, Apache Smoke Mooted Sniper does that for all of us with the timestamps, which is amazing. Atomic Rebel FPV says, I have a Meteor65 Pro that I want to freestyle. What motor / KV should I use with the Biblade props? Meteor75 Pro is on the even bigger propellers. You might be able to get away with the iGao 0802 27,000 kV motors. You really want to, in my opinion, freestyle equals hard crashes. And with the 75mm rigs, they are big enough and heavy enough that the regular motors with 1mm motor shafts don't last very long. You bend the motor shafts. There are two different 802s on tinywhoop.com that have 1.5mm motor shafts, 25,000 kV and 27,000 kV. You might as well go with the 27,000 kVs, and then if it's too much, you can motor limit it down in Betaflight. So yeah, they're iGao limited edition, purple, beautiful, awesome motors, and they should be a big enough motor for those bigger propellers. I have not run those bigger propellers yet. There's a chance that 802s are too small for them. In that case, you would want to go up to a 1002. Unfortunately, none of the 1002s are quite high enough kV, in my opinion. The highest kV ones available are the Tiny Whoop Dimes, which are 24,000 kV. Unfortunately, they don't have motor plugs on them, so you're going to have to direct solder the motors, which is just dumb, in my opinion, with Tiny Whoops. These are the Flywoo 1002s, which are 23,500 kV, which is so close to 24,000 that you should get these. These are sold on getfpv.com. Flywoo 1002, 23,500 kV. But I would actually get the iGao 802, 27,000 kVs. I think they're probably going to be just enough for those bigger propellers, but don't quote me on that because I haven't run those bigger propellers yet. Denzel the Trump says, more dives into style/pilots. It was great. Awesome. Veritas Huza says, if you're going to dive deep, if you're going to deep dive into SR13, why not dive deep into Area 51? Kevin the Alien tagged me. I know it's more weight, but you could also pair the Walksnail build to a Dogcom 320 mAh folded cell to get to 2-minute flight times. I don't think that Dogcom battery is any different than these. I'm pretty sure that Dogcom battery just has 320 here. I think this is that Dogcom battery. Hey, there we go. Look at that. A new folded cell battery is available, friends, from CiottiFPV.com only. It weighs the same as the 300 mAh batteries, but it's actually 320 mAh. Look, it says it right there. It must be true if it's written on it. I think that's what Dogcom did. Is there a weight on those batteries? If they are truly 320 mAh, they will be heavier than these. I don't think that they are, though. I believe it's the same battery. Because to my knowledge, there's only one manufacturer that's making these folded cell 300 mAh batteries. I would love to be wrong about this. I would absolutely love it. And I was actually really impressed with how the Dogcom batteries did in Rosser's most recent battery testing. He wasn't testing Whoop batteries. I forget what he was testing, but yeah, Dogcom batteries did really well. So I am kind of interested. And I do need more of these batteries. So maybe I'll snag a set. I'm actually going to open up a tab here and type Dogcom 320 in. Hey, Pyrodrone sells them. That's awesome. Wait, Pyrodrone usually has weights. Hold on. We might be able to figure this out. They'll also be bigger. Do they have a measurement? Wait, 7.5 grams. Here we go. I'll tell you right now if that's what they did. I think that's what they did, though. I'm pretty sure that these are 7.5 grams. What? This is 8.5 grams. Interesting. I'll get some and give them a shot. I'll snag a couple. What the hell? I sure hope that weight's wrong. Because if they're actually 7.5 grams, then either they're not folded cell. They certainly look like they're folded cell. Or they're less than 320 mAh. Because, yeah, it's like MAH, extra MAH weighs more, period. There's really no way to get around that. That's not completely true. Yeah, these quad gases also say that they're 320 mAh. I think that's nonsense. Let's see if there's a weight on these. It's almost like your gangly buddy knows what he's talking about. Yeah, they're not. I mean, maybe they are. Maybe these Weebleeds are underspec'd, right? But yeah, no, they're all the same battery. There's one place. It's Tattoo that makes these 300 mAh folded cell batteries. They're all the same thing. They're all exactly the same. It's a good thought, though. That's a really good thought. This is not me making fun of you. This is me making fun of the FPV industry for being kind of shitty. Like, that's not cool. Let's be honest here. Like, that's not cool, man. Like, don't. I mean, the problem though is that like there's no standardization. There's not like a machine that all of these companies have to buy to test MAH or C ratings are way more insane. So yeah. Metalurton says, don't be telling me that. I'm eating Indian food as we speak. Good luck. H. Rich says, I loved it. Great to hear your thoughts and breakdown of subtle details and flight characteristics. Cool. Prop Junkie says it was cool. Also cool. SR13 showed up in the chat. For real, I did not expect that. I have not talked to him in years, many years, like 2 or 3 years. That was so cool to have him come by. I loved that. I talked to him very briefly after the stream. Kevin Sumner thinks it's Betaflight 4.4.3, not 4.3 that has the motor direction change bug. Interesting. CMYK says, I totally selected the wrong address, just assumed it was gone forever. That's awesome. How long ago was it? Oh, my stomach. There it goes. Tim Robbins says, you remember that crazy website with the frame you used to rip with? Did the guy actually get what he ordered? It was an AIO board. Remember that crazy website with the frame? Oh, yeah. I don't know. Who was that? The website that we were making fun of all the old stuff on. I have to assume that it did show up. I forgot all about that. I actually wanted to order one of those AIOs from there. Kevin Sumner says, it disables rate. Oh, it's the rates. It's the rates that it disables. That's what it is. But the PIDs are active in angle. Yeah. Yep, you're right. It's the rates that it disables, of course. Stuart Guzman says, I don't know if Steve told you we are meeting Tuesdays and Sundays instead of Thursdays and Sundays at Torque. Yes, he did, Stuart. I just didn't go last night. Tuesday is like my day so I stream Sunday and Monday, and then so Tuesday, like I just force myself to relax all day, and I play a lot of DayZ. And I was just deep in DayZ last night and just completely forgot. And then Maggie and I were hanging for a little bit, watching The Crown and whatnot. But I'll be there Tuesday of next week. Brandon's Baked Beans, thanks for hanging, Stuart. Very cool of you to come to the stream. Brandon's Baked Beans says the PIDs are active in angle mode. I don't know if it was always, but it currently is for sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, good. Traffic says, thanks for the input. I know it's a weird issue. I'll keep you informed after I get some sleep. Yeah, that is a very weird issue, brother. I'll think more about it, but boy, is that strange. Ghost Branch says if he has a very high angle limit but very slow rates, maybe that's what he's feeling when switching. Oh, see, I haven't used angle mode in so long that yeah, very high angle limit but very slow rates. Man, is it hard to troubleshoot these things. Very slow rates. So that's gonna make it. You're gonna very slow rates. I actually I can't remember how the angle mode rates work. So there's the angle limit, which adjusts how much angle it'll have. And then is there just one other thing for the rates, for the speed of the rates? I think so, right? There's just one other value that you can move up and down, and that value that you move up and down is basically expo, right? Because the angle is controlled by the other one, so that's basically taking the place of the max velocity. And then so the other rate is just going to be, the only thing that it can be is expo. So if that other value is very low, then it's going to have a shitload of expo, which is what I basically fly. It's going to have a big knee. And so I would actually think it would be the other way, because he said when he goes to acro, that's where it feels very sluggish. So I would think that maybe his acro rates have a ton of expo, but then the angle rates do not have a ton of expo, and they're more linear. So in angle mode, it feels very active with a very linear rate profile. And then when he pops over to angle mode, there's a ton of expo. But I feel like he would know that because the stock rates don't have much, if any, expo. So that's definitely something to try, Traffics, is play around with your rates. Change your rates drastically. But see, you've got two rigs that probably have... All right, so check the rates on both rigs. Make sure both rigs have the same angle mode rates and the same regular rates, acro rates. That needs to be the very first thing that you check before you do anything else. If the rates are completely the same between the two of them, that completely rules this out. Weird issue. It could just be, for the record, it could just be a bad gyro. A gyro that is on its way out will cause all kinds of strange shit to happen. So you might just need to replace the AIO in that one rig. There's not a whole lot of things for us to check here, but I've given you a bunch, so check all those and report back. CMYK says 6 months ago or so. Jeez. Wow, okay. They're an Indian family, and I was wondering why the shirt reeked of curry. So now I get it. It's been in their house for 6 months. Kevin the Alien says, then why would tattoo batteries be more fragile than any other folded cell? I have heard that these battery manufacturers will have different grades, like A, B, C, D, for example. Like they have some sort of a procedure when a battery comes out to rate it, like this is a really good quality one, this is a garbage one. And so, you know, when someone then goes to buy batteries to resell from them, apparently they get to pick which grade of battery they buy, and there's different prices for the different grades. So maybe the ones that are branded tattoo, maybe everybody that buys batteries from them wants the A and B grades, and then tattoo is stuck with the C and D grade. I don't know if that's the actual grading scheme. Maybe they just have like A and B, but like, yeah, that could be it. Maybe it's just their way of dumping the rest of their batteries. I did not... my experience with these 300 mAh folded cell batteries has been that the Weed Lead ones seem to hold up the best. The Tiny Whoop ones were the second best, and the Tattoo ones were the third best. But that was a very small sample size. That was like 4 Tiny Whoop batteries and like 4... whatever the pack size is. When you buy like a pack of the Tiny Whoop batteries, it's either 4 or 5, and then when you buy a pack of the Tattoo batteries, it's either 4 or 5. That was my sample size, and that is way, way, way too small of a sample size to draw any actual conclusions from. That could have been total luck of the draw. So I don't know. For me, the Weebleed batteries have the wraparound sticker that doesn't peel off when I put it in and out of the frame. So I just continue to buy the Weebleed batteries. And now that I see the weight situation on those quad gas batteries, I'm going to continue to buy the Weebleed batteries. I'm not going to buy those dog comms or those quad gases because they're the same battery. Maybe they're not, but they are. CMYK says, yeah, that's right. You got some of the quad gases. He says, I have some V1 quad gas, and they are equal to the Tattoo for me. I do think Weebleed may be different. Interesting. Greenhorn says, Weebleed are 40C max discharge rate, and the others are 150C plus discharge rate. Yeah, so perfect example. Like, it's like the C rating is the most absurd. The C rating that is on a battery is just take a magic marker and cross it out, because it's just a worthless measurement that means absolutely nothing. You know, Weebleed has a battery that says 40C, and then the exact same battery coming from the same manufacturer from these other guys is marked 150C. The fuck? Like, no. Not to mention, there's not a fucking Tiny Whoop battery on Earth that'll ever come anywhere near 150C. That is the most asinine thing to stamp on a Tiny Whoop battery. So yeah, the C ratings mean absolutely nothing. It is a completely worthless rating. Do not ever, 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 ever look at two batteries and pick which one you're going to spend your hard-earned money on based around the C rating. It is a totally worthless number. And to be honest, the battery with the higher C rating stamped on it is probably worse, because that manufacturer is being shitty by putting, like, all of the C rating numbers are way, way, way higher than they could ever possibly be. Look at any of Chris Rosser's battery testing for confirmation of that and actual data around that. Like, all of the C ratings that we have on these batteries, when you actually test them, are double or triple what they should be. So if you've got two batteries you're comparing, and one of them is 150C and one of them is 140, that one that's 150, that manufacturer is probably just a bigger liar than the other one. There is a chance that it is a slightly higher C rating, but they are a much bigger liar. There's no, like, all of the C ratings on these batteries are grossly overinflated, so it's a completely worthless rating. CMYK says, SR must have Google Alerts set up. I know, right? Kevin Sumner says, not only did your tummy make it the full hours, you made an extra 45 minutes and still going. It's angry in there, but luckily it's contained to my stomach for the time being. Tomorrow's going to be an absolute nightmare. Hockey Round says, Speedy FPV, so does Blizzard. What's that? What's Speedy FPV? What's Speedy FPV? What was I asking? Yeah, that's the website. That's it. That's the website. Speedy FPV. Yeah. If you want to build an Ultimate Freestyle website, this is a website. An Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoop. This, at the moment, is the only website where you can get the AIO that you're going to need. I don't know if this is a legit website or not. I suspect that they are. Oh, never mind. Is that the one? I think that's the one. Hold on, let's just do this. We talked about them. A bunch of people watched the live stream and rushed out and bought all the AIOs. Yeah, I know they're gone. Fuck! It was not sold out the other day. We did this, friends. Good job. Oh, man. All right, well. If you want to build an ultimate freestyle tiny whoop, you're gonna have to buy an entire quad, which is not the worst thing in the world. You're gonna waste a little bit of money doing it this way, but I don't know. Yeah, you got to buy an entire Mobula 6 ELRS to get the AIO. Luckily, it will come with the camera that you want the camera that you want and the canopy that you want. So, yeah, you're gonna pay. What are they? $100, $91 on eBay, $97 on Pyrodrone. Yeah, so you're gonna spend $100 on the best AIO, the best camera, the best canopy. The motors are gonna be worthless. You can build the 75mm rig. Get the one with the 25,000 kV 802s, and then you can put those onto a 75mm rig and have some fun outside. So the frame is totally worthless. But yeah, welcome to FPV, where nothing is in stock ever. Ghost Branch says there are no rates in angle mode. Just the max. Is it just the one? What? Good lord, it's just the one adjustment? No, angle strength. Yeah. 661 says it's called angle strength. It's like a master slider for angle. Okay, yeah, I thought so. I thought there were two sliders. 661 says angle strength is like the P term for angle. Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, no. Oh god, right. Angle strength is actually basically just P term. It's how hard it returns back to zero. Wow. I'll be damned. Bryce Miller with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Homie. He says, in honor of my cat who destroyed most of my first... It sucks, dude. It sucks so bad. In honor of my cat who destroyed most of my first batch of batteries. Hopefully it's because she hates PH 2.0 and not because she loves batteries. That's either the best cat in the world or... Oh, baby, keep those batteries away from that cat, man. That has always scared me about dogs chewing on these batteries. I'm like nuts about keeping batteries away from the dog. I'm so afraid of him biting into one and having it explode in his face. Keep those batteries away from that kitty, man. Ooh, scary stuff. Greenhorn FPV says my whole life is a lie now. Did you not know that, Greenhorn? Yeah, it's not a super known fact, but it is absolutely a fact. It has been tested over and over and over again. McBucas says you worked over an hour on an upset stomach. Fucking pro. Thank you, dude. You guys make it easy. Thanks, friends. I'm finally caught up on chat. Is that right? Is it really 11 o'clock? Good lord. Pray for me tomorrow. Delicious lithium. I'll be all right. I'll be fine. If you can do me a favor, think about so I like to have my little alliteration fun with these live streams. Whoop Wednesday, 5-inch Friday, 4-inch Friday, Sim Sunday, right? First person to think of the winning alliteration for, I don't even know what to call it. I don't know what to call it when we feature a pilot and do what we did on Monday with SR13, but I want to do that more. So if somebody, Kevin, that's a good one. Mad Skills Monday. That's a really good one, actually. Think of them, write them down. This Friday's live stream, dump them all into the chat, and we'll pick one. And the person that wins gets, I'll send you a couple stickers, cool, of your choosing. Skill Stealing Saturdays, who to is? Yeah, it could be like steal related, right? Because we're gonna steal their stuff, you know. Showcase Saturday, yeah. There's gonna be a good one. Try to have it be for Sunday or for Monday. Whoop Wednesdays are my most popular live streams, so they're probably gonna stay as they are forever. Sunday, Monday, Friday. Yeah, try to have it be Sunday, Monday, or Friday. So SMF. Cool? Be good, friends. Have an excellent Thursday. I'll see you on Friday. Here comes some flying. Whether you like it or not. Here's some of that Monster Jam flying, ripping around that cool hotel. The computer just shit itself. Stop it, computer. Stop shitting your pants. That's my job. Be good, friends. I love you. Thanks for the support. Hey, this is my full-time job. CiottiFPV.com has a million ways you can support me. Patreon's the best. I love you. Be good. Bye. 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 Here we go. Later, friends.